Hi guys, Beth here, aka Mediagirl94. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another manga haul. This time, if you haven't already checked out the title, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my July manga haul. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's mid-August, but like I said in my last one, I'm going to be filming these later on in the month, so that it gives me a chance to buy more manga. And then I also know what you're thinking, but Beth, you've missed June. You went May, July. And the reason I missed June is because I've set up like a new budget scheme for myself, where after I do all my budgeting, I have like money set aside for like entertainment, so like manga, my little, as you can see, like blind boxes, and like video games. And if I overspend money, then it's got to be taken out of like that entertainment budget, and unfortunately I bought quite a few takeaways, and since that was on my no buy list for the month, it meant I had to take that money out of another budget, and unfortunately it meant that I didn't really think I had enough volumes of manga to justify doing like a manga haul for like the month of June. So I was like, I'm just gonna roll it over and do like it in July, and I feel like I've been a lot better like sticking to like my budget rules and like less takeaways, so that means more money to spend on manga. And in the case of this haul, we have a couple of light novels thrown in for good measure. Anyway, these videos, self-explanatory. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the manga, and in this case light novels that I've bought. Yeah, these hauls, you've probably seen like a million of them by now, but this is just me, Beth. Yes, before we begin, if you'd like to support me and the channel in the future, you can by clicking a like to show me some love. You can click subscribe and tap that bell to be notified when I upload on this channel. Enough rambling, let's just dive straight into this manga haul. I think I'm going to start with getting like the light novels out of the way, and I bought the first 3 volumes of the Apothecary Diaries. So we have Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. This cover is my favourite out of the 3. Pretty much in general, all these light novel covers are simply amazing. And, well, yes, Apothecary Diaries is a pretty popular anime. I have watched the anime, I am currently up to date with the anime, but the manga is pretty expensive for what it is. I know what you're thinking, but Beth, surely the light novel costs more. Yes, it does. These light novels are like $17.99 per volume, so that's a lot of money. However, I got these first 3 on Amazon, and I believe they like worked out because like Amazon had it, if you bought 3 or 4 or something, you got like a percentage off, and I believe it knocked the prices down from like $17.99 to like $13.99 a volume, which I thought was like a little bit more like feasible. And well, when I was buying like other manga in this haul, I did go into Worlds Apart and I saw that they had volumes 4 and volume 5, which I might try and get in like the 3 for 2 offer. But yeah, the Apothecary Diaries, the light novel, oh my god. I was talking to a friend, she's got both the manga and the light novel, and apparently even though there's like only like 5 volumes now of the light novel, I've been told that the light novel is slightly ahead of like the anime, so I do kind of want to buy like 4 and 5 when I can. But yeah, it's just weird for me because I'm so used to buying manga that like actually picking up a series that has like a book is very weird to me because I'm so used to just picking up manga. But yeah, I actually, when I first started collecting like manga, like 11 years ago now at this point, I did actually have like a fair few light novels on my shelf before I got more into manga. So yeah, it feels very weird, but like they're all thick. They're not like thin boys, so I can kind of justify it. I'm not going to spoil the Apothecary Diaries, but it's one of those popular animes that like a lot of people are talking about. She's the main. She's an apothecary. Where's volume 3? Then you have like Gingy. If you know, you know. But yeah, I love the covers, and then especially like on the back they have like the other like characters or like art. And like most light novels, they actually do have like a sprinkling of like pictures or like full pages of drawings throughout, so that you do kind of get the similar element to it being a manga, but it is a book. Now I know sometimes light novels can get like a bad rep because unlike an actual like book, as someone that reads like a lot of like fantasy, like dark romance, light novels can sometimes be considered a little bit more like simplistic in nature, in like the tone or like the way it's written. It's kind of like slightly more, I'd say, like dumbed down. But the more I read it, the more I just think that potentially like here in the West you have like teen books, and then you have like books that are aimed at like more like adult audiences, and I would say that light novels are more on like the teen spectrum in terms of what they're written for. That's the target audience, it's a slightly younger audience. But yeah, The Apothecary Diaries, the light novel, $17.99 per volume. Even though I said I'm going to try and get the other two in the 3 for 2, they will not be the free volume, because 3 for 2 is you buy 3, you get the cheapest one. So, but yeah. I'm in love with the series, and I'm probably not going to pick up the manga because I know I can borrow that from friends, and I just feel like having light novels on my shelf again. Chef's kiss. Moving on. Now let's get on to the manga portion of this manga haul, and we are starting with two big boys. These are omnibuses, so you got 3 volumes in one, and it is A Sign of Affection. So this is the omnibus volumes 1 to 3. You then have omnibus 4 to 6. I love the character design and like the artwork in this series. And for those of you who don't know, it is an anime. And yeah, I'm in love with this art style. And well, I'm not in love with the price because each of these volumes cost $22.99, which is a lot of money. However, Beth math in my head, because in an omnibus you're getting 3 volumes in one. So if you were to work that out, that's like less than £10 a volume. You can buy the individual volumes of this series. I did see them on the shelf. But then I believe when I did like the math, the individual volumes were like $12.99. So if you were to buy the first 3 volumes, you're looking at like what, £39? 39, 36. In its 30s. Whereas for 3 volumes it's $22.99. I know some people don't like omnibuses because they sometimes feel like the spine is like more inclined to get damaged over time, like when you bend it. But I do have a few omnibuses in my collection. I have the 7 Deadly Sins, I have like Full Metal Alchemist, and even like to a degree like the Tokyo Revengers series, they're omnibuses with like 2 to 3 volumes in each one. And despite the fact that how much I've read the Full Metal Alchemist series, the spines are still intact. But yeah, this is a series about a visually impaired girl and a guy, which, Beth, I know what you're thinking, guys. You've got like another series on your shelf which you are reading, which is Love in Sight, which is a similar setup with like a visually impaired girl and a guy. Whereas I would say Love in Sight has a few more slightly comedic elements, whereas this one is just like cuteness overload, and it's like a little bit more like sickly sweet, so it might not be for everyone. I actually only watched like the first few episodes of the anime, and I was a little put off by it. So I know what you're thinking. You were put off by it, yet you went out and bought the omnibuses. And that's because I had a friend who was like, you've got to give it a go, you've got to just like read it. And so I bought this omnibus first, and I was like, oh. But surprisingly, I haven't gone back to the anime. For some reason, I could just not connect to the anime, but I can connect to the story in this form, which is very weird. That's very happens on like rare occasions where an anime I'm just like, no. No, 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 no. But in this case, I'm going to continue like reading just because, it's just so nice, and I just love like the colours of like the pink on this omnibus. then like the yellow on the second omnibus, because like a lot of omnibuses, they will be quite like dark or like single toned colours, whereas on like when these are lined up on my shelf, it's going to be very bright and very like pastel and sweet, and I'm just there like, chef's kiss, I'm living for it. Do I prefer this series or Love in Sight? I would say I'm probably more inclined to recommend Love in Sight than I would be A Sign of Affection, but I think that's only because I feel like Love in Sight is like slightly more like comedic and not as sickly sweet, because I know some people do not like sickly sweets, and to a degree I can be one of those people. But there's just something so heartwarming and endearing about this connection, and it's kind of like, oh, does he have good intentions, or is like she like so naive, and you go, oh, you're rooting for him is what I'm saying. Moving on. Right guys, and either my last manga haul or the haul before that, I showed you guys volume 1 of this series, and it was volume 1 of Horimiya, the series I said I cannot pronounce, and I said I was only going to buy this series if it was in the sale. I think I have a problem, and I think I have like a new addiction in this series. Yeah, so I kind of broke my only buy it if it's on sale rule. So I have volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, volume 7, volume 8, volume 9, and, well, volume 17. Now, I know what you're thinking, Beth, there's a bit of a leap from like 9 to 17, but also I forgot to pick up volume 6. Like, I was so focused on finding like volume 4 that in my mind, because I know in one session when I went shopping, I actually picked up like, I keep doing it backwards. I picked up 7, 8, and 9. And so in my mind, I was like, I've already bought volume 6 because I've got 7, 8, 9. And then when I was just putting this like haul together, I was like, oh no, I don't have volume 6. So I'll be picking up volume 6. But yeah, I feel like I need to hold up at least one of these. Now I know what you're thinking. This one's in wrap. That's because I think overall there are 16 volumes in the main series, and that wraps up the series. But like volume 17 is like a special volume. As you can see, it's got like 2 things inside. So you have 4 new chapters, 3 uncollected stories, the final chapter from Hori's perspective, and a full colour bonus booklet with character birthday illustrations and much more. And it's kind of this is kind of sold as they met, they graduated, and now they're living their best lives. But it's good for the soul to take a stroll down memory lane. So it's kind of like stories that were like never told in the main series. So I'm not going to actually open and read this until I am like all the way through like the manga, and there is quite a bit to get through. So yeah, I'm more embarrassed for myself because I usually do keep quite good notes on like what volumes of manga I need to pick up, but for some reason I had it in my mind that I already had volume 6, so I was on the hunt for volume 4. So when I got 4, I was like, whew, so I've got volumes like 1 through to 9? No, because I don't have 6, so I will be buying 6 in a future haul. But yeah, as I said in a previous haul, there is an anime which I highly recommend checking out. It's set in a high school. You have like pretty much the 2 mains. I'm not going to spoil the series because I really feel like it's a series that I always recommend to people. So you have 2 leads, however in their school lives they are very different, like character, like personality wise, compared to their personal life. They kind of like swap the roles slightly, and they kind of like connect over that. And then you've got in like other volumes, You have like side characters who are built up as like a very good like support cast. The support cast are there not just to pretty much have a reason for her to have friends and like him to have friends and like the friendship group to come together, because mainly they're her friends who kind of adopt him into the friendship group. But all the side characters have a value, they have a meaning, they all have like individual personalities, and I love when we get like snippets of like the side characters like background or like the story or the interactions with like one another, you know, kind of like behind the backs of like these characters. So it is a series where I'm like, I love the leads, and well, I love the side characters, and yeah, like I said, it's set in high school. It is like kind of like a funny rom-com romance. That's how I describe it. But if you do want to check out the anime, I would highly recommend it, because it is actually really well done and actually pretty accurate to like the volumes of manga that it represents. So yeah, I did break my sale rule. None of these other volumes were on sale. I actually bought them in my 3 for 2. So like I would buy 3 volumes and I would get 1 for free, because each volume is $10.99. So like yeah, on the pricey end. This was $14.99, but I saw it and I had to have it because I was like, I am a completionist. If I tell myself I'm going to complete a series, I'm going to complete a series, even if it means buying like the bonuses. So yeah, Horimiya, I can never pronounce it, is such like a fun time, and like I can easily find when I'm reading the manga I get so lost in it that time just flies by. So it's one of those series that you can like read it and it doesn't really feel like you've read a lot until you look at your watch or your phone and go, oh damn, I've been reading a long time, but it doesn't feel like that. So it's like very fast paced, and Chef's Kiss, it is one of my favourite series and I always recommend it. Okay, let's go on to like the free like random like pickups for the month that I actually never intended on picking up, but they either caught my attention or I thought, why the hell not. We're starting up with Blood Night Market Volume 2. Now I want to say it was like a couple or even like 3 manga hauls ago that I showed off Volume 1, and I said it was an impulse buy. I saw like the fact that it had like Blood Night Market, and I was like, I saw that maybe it was vampire, might be slightly BL-ish, and so I picked it up. And well, I actually got around to reading volume like 1, and I was like, it's definitely one of those series that you need to read future volumes to kind of like make your mind up. So I actually honestly wasn't thinking about this series, and then I just saw it on a random shelf and I was like, I should pick up volume 2. Now it is based in a world where vampires exist. These are like the 2 leads. Like the guy with the black hair, like he's human, and he has like really like undesirable like blood. Like his blood is like bottom of the barrel, and it's in a world where vampires rank blood, and if you're like A or like S rank, top tier, but no one will pay to drink his blood. Then you have this lovely pink haired freak who is a vampire, who is like a gourmet, and like he actually does drink his blood from like time to time, but he's on a mission because he wants to find the ambrosia, which is like the creme de la creme of blood. And they kind of like pair up. The human, he's part of like the Blood Control Bureau, which is humans who go around the night market, the Blood Night Market, which has been set up where vampires can buy and sell blood. Where vampires can buy blood, humans can sell blood, and it's controlled by like a government body, and they have the right to like kill vampires if they break the rules. So yeah, these 2 like buddy up, and well, I'm not going to spoil it because it was actually revealed towards the end of volume 1 that there is like a reason, these, not to a degree a reason why these 2 like got together but like paired up. But this guy with the undesirable blood, he has a secret about his past that has the vampire very intrigued. And yeah, I was like, I didn't think much of volume 1, and then I picked up volume 2 and I was like, okay, I need to stick to my manga rule. I always tell myself that if you're reading a new series, you should always read between volumes 1 and volume 3, because usually volume 1 is the setup and leads into like the first like big arc. Volume 2 will normally continue on that arc, and then Volume 3 will normally be the end of that first arc, going into the next arc, so you can kind of make your mind up more so. So yeah, I had no intention of picking up any more volumes, but like I said, I randomly found Volume 2 on the shelf, and yeah, I'm intrigued, and I'm not sure if it's going to go down like the BL like lover route, or if it's going to be two very close guys, but I'm living for it. And as like someone who grew up in like the Twilight era and like the True Blood era, I'm a sucker for vampires. What can I say? Now these next two volumes are Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the same series, and these were random pickups. We have Pupasits Attract Volume 1 and Pupasits Attract Volume 2. I'm going to show Volume 1, and pretty much these two are like neighbours. So you've got like the small, like quiet girl who has like the massive, like intimidating dog, and then you have like the tall guy who has like the cutest, like small dog. So it's like opposites attract. You know, quiet girl, big dog, tall guy, small dog, and yeah, they kind of realise like as they're walking their dogs, but they kind of like form like a connection. And yeah, I just thought this series was like really cute. I had seen it on some TikToks, but I had kind of like put it to the back of my mind, and then I was just looking for like 2 more volumes to fill my like 3 for 2, and I saw like Volumes 1 and Volumes 2 on the shelf, and I was like, why don't I give it a go? And it is just so cute. It's like the power of friendship. It's like overlooking like stereotypes, because you would expect the guy to have the big dog, the girl to have the small dog, but it's like opposites. And I just find it is really cute, and as it's prompted on the back of the series, it is sold as a fluffy, feel-good romance for dog owners and admirers alike. But yeah, this is one of those random purchases that I saw on TikTok, completely put to the back of my mind, and then I saw it on the shelf and thought, why the hell not? But they are $13.99 per volume, so a little on the pricey side, but they are Kodansha, and some of the other series in this haul have been Kodansha, and Kodansha for me are on more of like the pricey end of like manga, probably like along with like 7 Seas, who did the Blood one. Even like the Square Enix ones, they're also like expensive, who did Yen Press as well as expensive, but comparing $10.99 to $13.99, so it really depends on your budget. I definitely feel like I'm not like in love with this series, but it's cute, and if I do see volumes in the future on sale, I might pick them up. But for now, I'm just happy with Volumes 1 and 2. If you want like a feel-good time, check out this series. Now on to the final 3 volumes of this manga haul. We're going to start off with Black Butler Volume 25. This is continuing on like the music hall arc, and this lovely green-eyed fellow on the cover is called Othello. We are introduced to a brand new Grim Reaper. He's like an eccentric, like a brainiac, like kind of like mad scientist vibe when like we're introduced to him. And there was something I'm going to say about the Black Butler series in general, but the Grim Reapers are maniacs. And like they are some of like the best written like characters in a manga series as a whole. Like I would happily read like a whole series just based on like the Grim Reaper organization, and it's always nice when we get like a new Grim Reaper thrown into the mix. But yeah, he's a little bit eccentric, and you don't really know if you can trust him, because like his initial introduction, I'm not going to spoil things for people who want to read like the new arc, but his introduction is kind of like they've done this before with like other Reapers, where they've been introduced and you think, okay, they actually might be slightly alright. But then you're kind of like, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, they are going to come after like Ciel and Sebastian like there's no tomorrow. Like they'll do something, they'll act friendly, and then like the switch will flip and they'll go a bit crazy. But yeah, I'm very happy we've got like another Grim Reaper. No one will hold a flame to my dear Undertaker. He is still the OG and like the best Grim Reaper in the Black Butler, and probably my favourite character apart from Sebastian in the Black Butler like universe. But yeah, I saw it on the shelf, and since in like a previous haul I did pick up some more. I picked up to finish like the Witch arc and now the start of the music arc, the music hall arc. I'm getting back into buying this series because the fact is it's $10.99 per volume, and the price of these volumes have not changed from like when I first started collecting manga like 11 years ago. They were $10.99 then, and I thought, oh my god, that's so expensive. But then like you compare it, I spent $13.99 on this. Can't really compare it to any of the others in this haul. This is $10.99, but like Black Butler I believe is now like there's like 30 plus volumes, so there is a lot of volumes to buy. So I'm very happy that I'm caught up to a degree. 25 is very close to 30, so I can justify my budget, especially since I look at it from the standpoint of Fire Force. When I was collecting that series, there ended up being like 30 plus volumes in that. And they started off at like $9.99 before like jumping all the way up to like $12.99 towards the end. So Black Butler, they haven't really increased the price, and if they did, I would be very upset, because compared to like the way manga is nowadays, Black Butler is very affordable. So I would highly recommend checking it out if you want demons, drama, Victorian era, Grim Reapers. Yeah, Black Butler has it all. And the final two volumes wrapping up this manga haul is, well, shock horror, it's Windbreaker. We have volume 12 and volume 13. They seem to be releasing these now at the pace of like one volume a month. So I believe last time I said they were like between like 18 and like 20 volumes out in Japan. And so the fact that we are already on like volume 13, if they stick to the releasing like one a month, like I'm just going to put one of these down, yeah. If they stick to like the one a month, so like what, that's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So in like 7 months, which yeah sure that is next year, that is 2026. But by the time then we're up to date with the volumes that are currently published, there'll be more volumes out. So in the justification, especially with like the popularity of like the anime, because series 2 of the anime is now complete, so you've got 2 series of the anime and you can watch it on Crunchyroll. It is both subbed and dubbed. I have watched both. The Japanese cast are amazing and the English cast are equally as good, so yes. So yeah, with the popularity of the first 2 series, and I believe they've already announced that Windbreaker Season 3 of the anime is going to happen. So I would justify that with the popularity of the anime, you would kind of want to keep releasing volumes of the manga to keep people interested, to keep people like invested, and because each time someone new finds the anime, they probably will find the manga, or if they find the manga, they will then find the anime, and it's like one of those like cycles. And the only annoying thing I would say is someone who is a fan of like another delinquent series, Tokyo Revengers, that's had such like a weird like anime run. The series is now complete, but we're only now just getting, I want to say like season 4? Season 3 or season 4. Disney own it, and Disney did something weird with like the last series when they split it in 2. So I can't remember if it's like if there's 3 seasons already out or if there's 2. This is number 3, or if it's season 4 coming out. But yeah, Windbreaker is amazing. Like I said, it's delinquents, it's set in a high school, but the stakes that have been set up like since like I would say like volume 11, volume 10 and volume 11, the stakes that have been set up are setting like all the characters on like a collision course. You've got Sakura here, he is the main guy. I love like this cover for like volume 12 because as you can see you've got like a young Sakura who had never met. He's like the leader of like Furin, I can never pronounce the school name, and it's just the fact that he's patting the head of like the younger Sakura, and you go, oh, but you've never had interactions until like the high school years. So I kind of feel like the covers also like tell a story, because if you are caught up with like the anime, you kind of know where the story is going. So this cover makes sense because despite being older than Sakura and being like more wiser, and he is like the leader, he's kind of like passing the baton over to Sakura and like the first years to kind of be like, you know what, we might have failed at some things, but you know, you guys can have a go, you guys can have a shot. And I just cannot wait because I definitely feel like the next like big fight arc is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to eventually see it animated. But yeah, the characters are great. Sakura has come a long way character development wise, and all the side characters are just, they're there for a reason. They are there to support Sakura, and they're kind of like different facets of like his personality that they can offer advice. They can be like, right, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, and it feels like Sakura is finally opening up and actually listening to his peers instead of just being like, no, I'm the lone wolf. You want friends on your side. And yeah, the art style, the fights, even like the filler chapters, there are a couple of filler chapters, they all make sense in this world that's being created, and I would highly recommend Windbreaker. You don't have to be a fan of like Tokyo Revengers or like Delinquent or like action series, but if you want action but you also want story and like family and heart, check out Windbreaker. And that just wraps up this month's manga haul. So there we have it, guys and girls of the internet. Those were just the volumes of manga and light novels that I bought this month. I hope you guys learned something new about me and, well, my taste in manga, anime in general. As you can see, I read a wide variety of like subgenres under the manga umbrella. I'm not too fussed. I like my action, I like my horror, my supernatural, I like my romance, I like my cute. So feel free to recommend any series in the comments. If you guys have read any of these series, then feel free to share your thoughts and opinions, because I would love to start a conversation with you guys. But let's just wrap up this video before I continue to ramble. If you'd like to support me and the channel in the future, you can by clicking a like to show me some love. You can click subscribe and tap that bell to be notified when I upload on this channel. At the end of this video, you can check out my last 2 videos or playlist, depending on what mood I'm in when I'm editing this. Until next time, I'm Beth, Mediagirl94, goodbye.